It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for Season 8 of The Walking Dead. In this video, I'm going to be doing the promo breakdown or the teaser breakdown for the second half of Season 8. So AMC just released the official mid-Season 8 teaser, so basically for the second half of Season 8. And it's called The Last Stand Begins. Interesting title, I gotta say, but let's get into this teaser and let's break it down. The teaser starts with this shot, which is very interesting. Obviously, this seems to be at Alexandria. There's still smoke in the back. There's destruction also. So we know that this is at Alexandria. We don't know how long has passed, but this is definitely at Alexandria, and we do see the grave there. So this is most likely Carl's grave. They could be throwing us through a loop, and this could be another death, but at this point, I think it's unlikely that this is anyone other than Carl. So this kind of does indicate that Carl does die. Now, Scott Gimple definitely confirmed Carl is dead in The Talking Dead anyway, but this is Rick and Michonne standing in front of Carl's grave. Now, I thought Rick would be more broken and start crying or something, but at this time, I don't see that in this clip. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this is right after or this is like a few days after, because I feel like Rick would be in a more broken shape than he is here. But it's going to be interesting to see how the series moves on without Carl now. Like I said in my episode review for the last episode, it's going to be difficult to kind of bring in some of the comic elements to the show without Carl. And because of that, they may need to do a shitload of remixes. And they might have to basically do remixes that they did, just like when Andrea died. So it's going to be interesting. I will do a standalone video just talking about the Carl death, but just overall, I just don't understand why they killed Carl. I think that this is not because they wanted it for the story. This just doesn't fit. So there's definitely something there that we don't know about. So let's get back into this teaser breakdown.
I think all of you got away in the woods, but they're out there looking.
We have Dwight having this conversation with Rosita, Michonne, Tara. So what Dwight is saying here is that they think you all ran away, but they're still at Alexandria looking for people. So we can't just kind of stay here because they might find us at any moment. So I think that's what this is about. So I think Dwight is trying to push them to kind of run away and try to gather their thoughts somewhere else. But we do see Michonne also crying, so this is straight after she found out that Carl is bit and is most likely going to die. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as well. But we have all of the other Alexandrians in the background, Tobin and the others. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dwight fits here and what he does to help the group get out of this situation. We have this shot of Rick. He is hiding behind a tree in the woods. I'm not sure who he's looking at. Maybe Saviors. And this shot also goes with the previous one as well. We have this shot of Maggie. This is most likely at the hilltop, but I'm not sure exactly where she is at the hilltop. I don't remember seeing that structure in the back, but I think this is at the hilltop. Then we have this shot of Rick. He's again in the woods, but there's a lot of walkers approaching. Now there's smoke there, so I'm thinking that this is most likely close to Alexandria as well, because it was just recently bombed. We have this clip, which is very interesting. We have all of the walkers inside Alexandria. So it seems like Negan and the Saviors, when they left, or whatever ended up happening, walkers got inside the walls. And as part of the cleanup process, Rick and the survivors have to not only deal with the burned out houses and the destruction, but also clear out all of these walkers. We see Michonne killing a bunch of walkers. We have Rick. He has this fire extinguisher. Not sure if he's using that to kill the walkers. Maybe he's just using it to distract the walkers, which is a pretty interesting plan. But we have the van in the back as well, kind of driving around, maybe killing a bunch of walkers as it's moving. But it's going to be interesting to see how they clear all of these walkers. I see a lot of No Way Out kind of vibes in this clip here, which is very cool. Then the text, The Last Stand, pops up, and we have this clip. We have Ezekiel talking to Gavin. This is at the theater room that they have at the Kingdom. But we do see Ezekiel is kind of beat up a little bit, so maybe they get into some sort of physical fight or something. But they're still at the kingdom, we know that. Something blows up behind them, so I'm wondering whether Carol has something to do with that, or Morgan. It's going to be interesting to see who comes to the rescue to rescue Ezekiel. We have this shot of Carol shooting at someone, most likely at the Saviors. Now, I'm not sure if this is right where Gavin and Ezekiel are standing. It doesn't look like it. It might be, I'm not sure. It might be outside of it or in the entrance. But, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Carol and how she saves the day, because she's definitely going to do that. We have this shot of Negan and Simon. They're back at the sanctuary, so I'm not sure if this is after they left Alexandria or this is before they got to Alexandria. But I love seeing Simon and Negan together. Negan is pissed off here, so it's going to be interesting to see what the hell he's going to do. If this is after the attack. If it's before, we know what he's going to do. He's going to attack, bomb the place. But if this is after, it's going to be interesting to see what his game plan is. We have someone saying please, not sure who it is. Sounds like Rick, not sure. But we have all of the saviors at the sanctuary here as well. And we see this one savior, I still don't know his name, but he is basically closing the trunk of a car or something, and there's all of those weapons. This might actually be before they attack the kingdom and Alexandria. We have this very interesting shot of Simon. We have Michonne telling Dwight, tell him to stop. That's very interesting. I don't know what that could be about. And then we have the text begins here, so the last stand begins. So this is going to be the last stand against Negan and the Saviors. Then this February, so they're going to come back this February for the second half of Season 8. We have this interesting shot of Negan. Now, I'm not sure if this is near the sanctuary or not. It could be, but we have all of those walkers chained to the fence. And then going from there, in the background, we hear Daryl saying, together we'll make this their worst nightmare ever. Then we have this interesting shot here. We have Dwight at the sanctuary. So it's going to be interesting to see where this is in terms of timeline, because Dwight is not at the sanctuary. He's not with the Saviors at this time. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fits in. This looks a lot like when he came and saw Fat Joey dead. So I'm not sure if they're going back to that moment. Most likely not, but this is very interesting. We could be going back to them in terms of timeline and seeing how they escaped the sanctuary. So this could be part of that. We have Daryl here and we have Rick holding Judith. So Daryl is basically talking to Rick and telling him that we'll be there for each other. So this is most likely after Rick finds that Carl is going to die. So he's basically, as a brotherly bond or something like that, telling him that I'm here for you. So that's going to be great to see as well. We have the Saviors here. They're saying for Negan. Now, Simon is there at the forefront, but Negan is not there. And they're saying for Negan. So did something happen to Negan, or is Negan kind of trapped somewhere? I'm not sure. This does definitely hint at that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And if Negan is out of the picture a little bit, not dying or anything, but just not being with the rest of the Saviors for a little bit, it's going to be interesting to see how Simon leads the group. We have this interesting shot of Daryl and Siddiq. They're out on their own. This is definitely after they escape the sewers, but it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between those two. Those two are an interesting dynamic. I never thought that we would see that, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. We have Rosita killing a bunch of walkers here. We have Carol being shot at here, and this is most likely still part of her attempt to help Ezekiel escape. We have Morgan here. He's kind of running down the stairs. This is definitely at the kingdom, so he's probably there trying to save as many people as he can. Now in the background, we have Negan saying something. I cannot make out what he's saying, so if anyone knows, let me know. We have this shot of Ezekiel and Gavin. So it seems like we're going to see a major dialogue between Ezekiel and Gavin and a major scene between them. Ezekiel looks confident. He looks like he just doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care if Gavin kills him, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there and how that plays out. We have Tara running away. And then Negan says, who's next? And he is basically talking through the walkie-talkie, and we do see he's talking to Rick, and this is still part of the same dialogue that we heard earlier that I just can't make out, but he might actually be asking Rick, whose turn is it to die next? Something along those lines. And then Rick replies with the most savage answer and says,
You are.
You are. I love that. I think it's amazing. Then we have Michonne killing a bunch of walkers here. And then we have Rick here putting his pistol with the silencer on his holster from the looks of it. So definitely an interesting teaser. It looks like the second half of this season will be a bit better in terms of story. It's going to move the story along more than the first half did, which is definitely something I'm excited for. But it's definitely an exciting and epic promo teaser. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.